Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video at my YouTube channel. Today I'm coloring an image from some Odd Girl called Hey Mae, and I'm using my Copic markers. I am starting off with the skin, and I'm using my go-to skin combination of E04, E11, E21, E00, R20 for the cheeks, and R22 for the lips. I have a tendency to be a bit heavy-handed, so I like to start with my darkest color and work my way out to my lightest color on my skin tone. That way I can maintain a nice light complexion. Unless you're going for a darker complexion, then you can do it lightest to darkest, darkest to lightest. And then that will give you a little bit darker of a skin tone with the same color combination. So there's quite a bit of skin showing on this image. You've got, her face and upper body there, her hands, and then her legs. So quite a bit of skin tone to color there. So I'm all stuffy. Please pardon my stuffiness. We went from really cold, in which we were outside planting our grapes. We got our first vineyard planted last weekend, so that was a lot of fun and excitement, although it was really, really cold. And then it got warm, and a strong south wind brought all sorts of fun allergies up to the Dallas area. So now I sound like this. And this is with medicine, so here's hoping it gets better soon. Anyway, so we got the skin done here. Gonna go on to her hair, and I have always wanted to do like a dark black colored hair, but I hadn't tried it. So this is actually my first try. And black hair can have some highlights of kind of a bluish tone. So I am just laying down a coat of this B00 so that I have that as an undertone to my coloring. And here's another marker I don't use a lot, my 100, my black 100. And so I am going in and laying down the darkest areas of this hair with actually black. And I know normally when we color black, we don't use black. We just use shades of whichever gray family that we're using, but I wanted it to really have that black tone. So I'm actually using my black. And then I'm using my T-Series markers. I'm using T7 and T5 to finish out this hair. And so I'm flicking in from the darkest areas into the lighter areas to try and leave more of that blue undertone. And I think it turned out pretty good for my first attempt at black hair. I was pretty happy with it. I might the next time add like a T9 in there if I use the T's again. Do one step darker than that T7, so I got one more thing between the 100 and the T's. And I think that might give it a more darker appearance and be more of the black that I'm trying to achieve. But all in all, I was pretty happy with it. And that other little image there, that is Music May, I think that's, or Music Tia. Anyway, that's going to be my next card that I make. So if you like that image, stay tuned, and we will have a video for that as well, over on my YouTube channel, or maybe here on the Some Odd Girl channel as well. So just finishing up on her socks, and I also used this on her tank top too, and it's a really pretty by R18. I believe coral is the Pantone color of the year, so you'll see that a lot this year. Coral will be a very popular color. And I know that between her arm and her body there is a section of hair that I missed, but I will go back and get that later. So I'm doing green shorts, and those are YG 11, 13, and 17, and I am going to use this on her eyes as well. I thought green eyes with her dark hair would be really pretty. And they do very much really stand out. Okay, and then I think we'll move on to the shirt next. Oh, here's where I catch that little bit of hair that I missed. So again, I laid down the blue first, put in my darkest, and worked my way to the lightest. And since that's behind her, that would be really dark. Okay, so I'm moving on to the blue shirt. And that is BG01, 5, and 7. So just going in and laying in where my darkest areas would be. There's a lot of folds and everything in this shirt from the way that she sits. So I'm just making sure that I get all those folds so you can see that in the coloring and give that shirt a lot of dimension. And I just thought that blue and green and coral made a really pretty color palette. And after I finish this, I'll use those T5 and 7 again for her shoes. So, you know, a simple color palette, because we're going to have a very, very busy background. We're going to do some alcohol ink backgrounds. And I've been doing a lot of those lately because they're so much fun to do. I mean, because you can just be as messy as you want to be and get your fingers all inky, and it still turns out amazing. So it's a lot of fun, and it's quick and easy to do a background with the alcohol inks. And like I said, it's just a lot of fun just being messy. Oh, here's something I always do. I like to use a black glaze pen to go over the irises and the eyes. And then I also use that to go over the eyelashes. And a glaze pen is, the ink dries a little bit raised, so it gives a little bit of depth and dimension, not to mention the color. And I also used a white Jelly Roll number 5, because so kind of a fine point to put the reflection dots in her eye. So I used my brother's scan and cut, and I cut her out, and now I'm just going around the edges with my Memento TUXEDO black marker. I like to get rid of the black edges around my images when I cut them out. I think it just makes them look more finished. So here I go. I got my Yupo paper out, and I decided I wanted to, instead of just dropping it on in drops, I wanted to try and do lines. And I think it turned out pretty good. The pink really overtook for a little while. I had to come back and put some more blue in. But the pink is a really pretty color. And I'll have all the colors that I used listed in the video description below. If you're watching on my YouTube channel, or if you're watching on the Semi Girl blog, I'll have that listed in the blog post. And I'll also have it over on my blog as well. So I'm just going, and I'm not doing any blending solution, and I'm not blowing or anything. I am just laying the color on and letting it go. So I let it dry a little bit, and then I'm taking this fancy foil, and some areas I let dry a little too long, and there wasn't enough tackiness left, and so I didn't get as much of the foil in as I wanted, but it still gave some really pretty areas. And so now I got out my laminator, and I decided to, I printed off on my laser printer just a black square. And so then, because the foil adheres to the toner with a laminator, so I ran that through so I'd have a foiled piece of cardstock. And now I'm using a Scripty Smile die from Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to run that through my little sidekick here, and I'm going to cut out Smile, and then I think I cut it out a couple of times on white cardstock too, just to make it really thick and substantial. Yeah, here I go. There's my foiled paper, and I'm going to run it through. So this will help pick up the areas in the background where I got the foil to stick to the sticky alcohol ink parts. So here I am going to run it through just a couple more times, like I said, on just some white cardstock, and so then I can glue all these together and make it. I only cut it out one more time. Just wanted to make it a little bit more substantial. I'm using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I love this adhesive. It doesn't ever clog in the nozzle, and it dries clear, and it works for so many different things. It's an excellent glue. I really like it. It stays on my desk. I use it all the time. So got all my pieces put together. I'm going to use that glue again to put my alcohol ink background onto my card base. And I'm going to pop her up. I'm just going to use some foam tape real quick to pop her up. I like to get all the bits covered and mash that down really good with your bone folder. Make sure you got good adhesion. And putting my smile on there so I know the placement. You can see that glitter, that the foil that stuck to the background up by her head. And so then the smile will bring that foil look down to the bottom too, since I didn't get it to stick on the alcohol ink down at the bottom. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Nuvo shimmer to her tank top and some Caribbean blue dots to the bottom of the card here, and that is going to finish off our card for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you soon.